It's officially week 1 in college football, and Clemson, Florida State, Miami all have opportunities to beat top 10 teams. Let's go.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Shout out to the everydayers, and thank you so much for making Locked On ACC your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets right now. He is Kenton Gibbs, former NC State defensive lineman and co-host of Locked On Wolfpack. I am Alex Donno, host of Locked On Canes. On this episode, Stanford is off to an 0-1 start. Will they win a game all year? We'll dive into that. We will take a deep dive looking at some of the matchups for this weekend because, Kenton, not only do we have a bunch of top 10 opportunities for ACC teams, we also have the Bill Belichick sideline debut for North Carolina. We have that coming up as well. But before, KG, I want to later in the week take like a real true deep dive on Miami hosting Notre Dame and Florida State hosting Alabama. But maybe for this episode, excellent matchup coming up in Death Valley, the one that's in Clemson that Brian Kelly refers to as Death Valley Jr. We'll see. We'll find out this weekend. But in Clemson, you're going to have your top 4 Clemson Tigers hosting top 10 LSU. Your early hunch, Kenton, on who's going to win this game and why.
There's only one coach in this game that has proven he can win big games. And that's the guy that is going to run his team out and touch the rock. You understand? That team, everybody who tells me, oh, Ken, your Brian Kelly hatred is so misplaced. Your disdain for Brian Kelly is so misplaced. Well, somebody show me where it's wrong. Somebody show me where I have been wrong about Brian Kelly. The only time I have ever seen him win a big game was against another coach who has a penchant for pissing down their leg every time the lights get bright and the moment gets big. When you ask Brian Kelly to take his team and play a competent team, they lose. When's the last time those LSU Tigers won an opening game?
2019.
Was Brian Kelly the head coach then?
Nope. And by the way, and that was the last time they opened against a non-Power 4 or Power 5 team. I think it was Georgia Southern. Since then, and not all great teams, but they've opened against Power 4 teams, and they haven't won a single opener since.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the Georgia Southern Eagles ain't walking through that door. It's not happening. I'm sorry to tell you. Georgia Southern is not walking through that door. You're instead going to see Cade Klubnik walking through that door. You're going to see TJ Parker walking through that door. You're going to see a bunch of dudes that are real, real bad walking through that door. Okay, that you're going to see a bunch of guys who are going to have to wait in the green room. They're going to have a new minute in the green room for every hair follicle you and I have that's active on the top of our heads. That's how long they're going to have to wait in that green room. Okay, for those of you who don't know, if me and Donno didn't shave for a month, we'd look like George Jefferson and the mad scientist standing next to each other. So I don't see a world where Brian Kelly wins this game, not only because he's terrible at execution, but also because I think Clemson has the better players. I think LSU is replacing too much. They're trying to replace too much too fast for me to say, hey, that team can get it done. I think Caden Durham is a fantastic running back. I think that's the only advantage LSU has in this game. I think they have a much better running back. That kid is phenomenal. He is a burner. But unless he has 200-plus yards, I don't see a world where they win this game. And with all due respect to Nussmeier, I think that he's a wonderful passer. He's not mobile enough to get away from a Peter Woods and get away from a TJ Parker all night. And if those of you who are saying, well, he doesn't have to be mobile, you're replacing Will Campbell, who started at left tackle for how long down there in the Bayou? Oh, okay. So I think that this is a serious, serious moment for Dabo to stake his claim and say, hey, we're the real Death Valley. We're the real Tigers. And also, I don't think week 1 is going to go well for any of the guys that were talking big stuff all off season. And Brian Kelly was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this game and why I favor Clemson, I think the game's going to be somewhat close. Like, I think it's going to be, Clemson maybe 7 points, something like that. But why I favor Clemson comes down to a couple of important matchups. And you touched a little bit on one of those, Kenton. So LSU, they're replacing 4 starting offensive linemen that they just lost into the NFL draft. Like, that's, and again, like, they may settle in. Week 1 may not be the best timing for that going up against TJ Parker, Peter Woods, Will Helt, who transferred in. Yeah, Dabo's taken transfers now, and he got a good one for that defensive line. So that, to me, I mean, Clemson, I would already say this, probably has the best defensive line in the entire country, and you're going up against an offensive line that's replacing 4 starters. I think that, and yes, Garrett Nussmeier is a great quarterback, but if he's under duress all night, he doesn't have time to throw. And like you said, he's not that mobile. I think that's going to be a big issue there. And then I wonder about LSU's secondary, which is a spot that I believe they have upgraded, but has been suspect for them the last couple of years. And you're going up against one of the best receiver cores in the country, against a quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who found so much confidence with the way that he played last season. And he's now got the horses lining up wide and in the slot for him. So that, to me, is a question mark. I'm sure if any LSU fans find this episode, they're going to be commenting like, you don't know what we got, bro. Got all these new players. Okay, you're improving your secondary after it's been an issue for the past couple of years. You're going up against a very good Clemson receiving core. So I think those are the types of matchups, not to mention you're playing in Clemson's Death Valley. Not an easy place to win. I think those are some matchups that are going to decide this game in the favor of the Clemson Tigers.
I want to see what matchups LSU has that they feel comfortable that they can win. I want to know. I mean,
probably like you said, starting running back versus, which is not an actual on the field matchup, but I mean, they probably feel like they have a running back edge. And to be fair, Clemson wasn't that great at stopping the run last year. So that's something Tom Allen is trying to fix.
And that's why I acknowledge that it's going to take a Herculean effort from Durham to get this done, because he's that type of back. I'm not denying that he can go nuclear, and you just look up and you're like, oh my God, that kid he's still running, right? I'm not denying that. But position by position, I'm not even talking units, I'm just talking position by position, I would say, hey, LSU's got the edge 2 places, running back, tight end, that's it. Every other group, if you talk groups, offensive line, you just talked about consistent, steady, everybody's coming back, 4 new guys. Quarterback, Nussmeier to Cade Klubnik, somewhat of a wash, in my opinion.
I might even give the slight edge to Nuss, but not if the protection struggles against Clemson's D-line.
And I was just about to say, but even if we give that to him, right? So now we've given you running back, we've given you quarterback. But once we get beyond the tight end, pass catchers as a whole, I'm sorry to tell you, in the words of Fran Brown, that's a little homie up at Ohio State in terms of who's competing with this wide receiver core. That's a little homie up at Ohio State. Same thing he said when they were talking receiver $2 million. Same thing I'm going to answer when you ask who's better than this wide receiver core. The little homies up at Ohio State. That's it. That's all I can come up with off the top of my head. You look at the linebacking core. I mean, I don't know what it is about Clemson. I don't know what it is, but their linebacking coaches go scouting and they say, find me an insane white boy. We're going to have us a great linebacking core. That was the problem before. They had Trotter and they had what was his name? Barrett Carter. And they missed just that one. They needed that one. And Wade Wood
like I should say I'll just let you go because I don't feel like I have anything to add to this.
But honestly, linebacking core, I like Perkins a lot. I think he's playing out of position. I really do. I don't think that they found the proper way to utilize Perkins down there at LSU. I don't. Yeah. So you look at that linebacking core. LSU has a deficit there. Defensive back play. That's not even Clemson's strength. Their safeties are a group that you look at like, what are you going to be? And yet, if anybody was being honest with themselves, Clemson has a landslide advantage there. So I'm not sitting here saying Clemson by 1,000 because we believe in the Tigers and go ACC. Instead, I'm saying Clemson by 10 because they have the better coach. Yeah. They have better matchups almost everywhere on the field. And again, go position group by position group. It is possible for Nuss and Caden to do something that's so special that it transcends all of these guys not playing well around them. The only problem with that is, I'm sorry to tell you, in order for them to have great games, they're going to need to neutralize Parker, Woods, Woodaz, Brown, and I don't think they got those horses in the stable.
All right, well, coming up next, I want to talk about why I think, and maybe Kenton agrees, why LSU has a lot more pressure than Clemson does in this game, and then we'll take a look around the rest of the conference because, week 0 was not good for the ACC. That's an 0-1 start to the season, but week 1 might be a little kinder to us. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. I love it. It's completely online. Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. You can even read real customer service reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege for 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved, do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. Thank you for making Locked On ACC your first listen. And hey, we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes, and thank you for helping us out. All right, Alex Donno alongside Kenton Gibbs. He's from Locked On Wolfpack. I am from Locked On Canes. All right, so Kenton, obviously, from an ACC point of view, you'd love to see Clemson win this game, right? Because they went 0-3 against the SEC last year. You'd love to see, Dabo Swinney set the season on the right path. But I look at it from Brian Kelly and LSU's point of view, and this has nothing to do with losing their previous, 5 season openers or anything like that. But if you look at LSU's path to the college football playoff, far less likely LSU wins the SEC than Clemson wins the ACC, right? Clemson are heavy favorites to win our conference. LSU is among a group of teams that could win the conference, but Georgia, Texas probably being the favorite. So LSU's path to the CFP probably involves an at-large bid, and a non-conference win is going to be a lot more important for them than it will be for Clemson, assuming Clemson are the odds-on favorites to win the ACC. You're muted.
The Brian Kelly lobby was coming for me because he knows I'm coming down the pipeline. Donno, let me cook here for a second. Clemson versus LSU, 2 very proud programs. 2 programs that have won multiple national championships. 2 coaches that have won multiple national championships. But do you know what the difference is? Brian Kelly's last national championship came at Grand Valley State, FCS. It's in Michigan. I've got some wonderful former teammates and guys from my high school that went there. So shout out to Grand Valley State. I'm sorry to tell you, you look at the amount of first games lost. You look at the fact that Clemson before Dabo had 1 national championship ever.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney
that early
has more.
80s, like 81 or
something?
Yeah,
80 or 81, one of those 2.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney has more national championships as the head coach of Clemson than Clemson has without him as the head coach. He raised the floor, the ceiling, the expectation, the belief, the hype, the NIL, the relevance nationally. He raised all of that. Brian Kelly is Ed Orgeron's predecessor, or he's the guy following Ed Orgeron. Did Coach O win a national championship there?
He did.
Who was the coach before Coach O? Was that Les Miles, I believe?
Les Miles, who won championship there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, who was it before Les Miles? Who was the coach before Les Miles? It had
Nick Saban?
Whoa, Nick Saban? Well, he surely didn't win a national championship. Oh, look. There's one outlier in the group. And it's you, Brian. It's you, buddy. So I'm sorry to tell you, every bad thing that happens to Brian Kelly on a football field gives my heart joy and delight. And therefore, week 1, I'll have lots of joy and delight because they have all the pressure on them and they know it. Clemson has a path to the college football playoff, even if they lose every out-of-conference game they play. There's a path. There's a path. For LSU, not so much. There's not a world where people look at Dabo and say, you've been disappointing and underwhelming as Clemson's head coach. People are already saying, we live in the world where people are saying that about Brian Kelly. We live in that world right now. So again, the pressure is all on the Tigers that are going to be wearing that purple and gold. The pressure is going to be on the boys that, they know the Treme area and all of the wards down there very well. That's who the pressure is on, not the guys from Clemson, South Carolina. That's not it at all.
Looking at other games this weekend involving ACC teams, your NC State Wolfpack open up against East Carolina. You guys are 13-point favorites. I mean, do you believe that's a dub, right, Kenton? Like you're opening up with a dub.
Yeah, this game is personal. ECU beat NC State last year in a bowl game, and ECU fans have not let NC State fans live it down. Dave Doran, they didn't I don't think they took it seriously enough last year because they were all, we're above this team being our rival. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. If you think I'm your rival, I'm going to bring more smoke than Cheech and Chong bought in the 70s. You understand? If you think you're my rival, I don't care if you're below me. If I was Miami and FAMU said, we your rival. Oh, really? Oh, if I'm the head coach, it's rivalry week, boys. We're going to ratchet up the intensity. Since they think they're our rivals, since they think they can wear the orange and green like we do, they're our rivals now. Congratulations. Now I think Doran has a sense of that, and I think this game is going to get ugly early.
You got some games where the spreads are not so close. Duke is going to host Elon Thursday night. By the way, those games are both on Thursday, the NC State game and the Duke game. Duke is favored by 34.5 points against Elon. Now, Kenton, you know my rule, and I was able to cash in with Idaho State against UNLV. Anytime a week 1 team is an underdog by 30 or more points, I always bet the dog. And I'm counting my money after Idaho State. So nothing, JJ Jackson, if you're listening to this, it's nothing personal. I am going to be betting against the spread. I'm going to be betting the opposite way of your Duke Blue Devils, and I'm going to be rooting for Elon to hold them within 5 touchdowns. That's going to be the weekend I'm going to be having, or the Thursday night I'm going to be having. Friday, you've got Wake Forest hosting Kennesaw State. Wake is favored by 18. I like this as a spicy matchup on a Friday night, Kenton. Georgia Tech is going to be on the road in Boulder, Colorado. You still got Dion there, but no more Shador. And Georgia Tech, as they should be, are favored by 4 points. Now, this is personal between you and me and Drake Toll, because we want to make sure the ACC gets a big victory against the Big 12 on Friday.
Absolutely. And, you want to talk about the whole we play for clicks, they play for, or they play for clicks, we play it on the field type of thing. Oregon was the wrong team to say that. Georgia Tech, however, that actually does apply. That actually is a thing that's happening there. I see Donno's pulling out his stop for the clicks and getting the family affair rolling. He said, if D.I. go get rid of his son, I'm gonna bring in my son. That's what we gonna do.
My kid is asking me when we just had soccer earlier today. He's like, "Oh, when can we go out in the backyard and play soccer?" And I'm like, "You don't see that I'm on right now, literally right now."
He felt the spirit of the family affair, Donno. You mentioned Colorado, and he said he lost 2 sons. Let me bring 1 son on the air. But in all seriousness, I look at this game and I say, in the trenches, I think there's too big of a disadvantage. I love Seton. I think his body has trimmed up in an amazing way. I think he's going to be a fantastic left tackle. Unfortunately, you cannot just run behind the left tackle the entire game and win a football game, not against Georgia Tech. I am sorry. They don't have it in them. So I think that Georgia Tech and the Yellow Jackets win one. They win one here that I don't think is particularly close late. I think Georgia Tech does. Colorado does a good job of keeping it close early, but it gets out of hand late.
All right. How about Syracuse on the road, or I guess not on, no, it's in Atlanta, neutral site against 24th ranked Tennessee. Now the Volunteers are favored by 13.5 points. And it feels like a Vols dub. I think our question is, can Syracuse pull it off? Now, I noticed our guy, our good friend Jackson Holzer, put out a social media post like, what needs to happen for Syracuse to pull off the upset. And I noticed one of the comments he got from a Syracuse fan was, I wouldn't even call it an upset based on what Fran Brown is building. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, like to not call it an upset if Syracuse wins. Syracuse has one of the top 2 schedules in the entire country. I would love to see them win this game against Old Rocky Top. I just don't see it, but I think they can keep it close and maybe keep it within 10.
Hey, Donno, is Tennessee's quarterback from last year coming back?
No, he's not.
What about Sampson? What about that running back that was the guy
he's
last
not.
year? What about Squirrel White, leading receiver? Is he?
He's in Florida State now.
Donno, I'm gonna say something, and people
pull
gonna not
off?
like it. People not gonna like it. The wrong team is favored, Donno. I've got Syracuse pulling off the upset here on a last-second field goal. Fran Brown has woken up everybody on the recruiting trail. This is going to be the game where he wakes everybody up nationally to how great of a coach he is in terms of on the field. I think he's learned some lessons and taken some lumps last year. I'm not sure that he's going to win 7 or 8 this year, but this is one of them.
I think I'll admit this. I think I'm secretly rooting against Fran Brown because he's taken too many recruits out of South Florida. I'm just like, all right, slow down, Fran. Slow down. I don't need you getting signature wins this year. Let's slow down, and Calvin Russell can come back home to the U.
In the words of Uncle Jerome, teach a man's Mario how to squabble, okay? You got to teach him how to squabble down there in the state of Miami, okay? He's got to do what he's got to do to build a wall around the state of Miami. He's not doing it right now because, like you said, he's a national guy.
My secret anti-Fran Brown agenda is no longer a secret. I don't want him showering all season long. I want him going 0-12 and smelling like an outhouse. That's what I'm.
Oh, come on, man! Come on, don't do him like that. Don't give him 0-12.
0-12, which means they won't make a bowl game, so they can't go 0-13. But I got 0-12 this year, and all the recruits coming back to Miami.
Well, the worst part is we might actually have a team go 0-12 in the ACC this year, but I guess we'll get into it in a few.
We'll get into that. And again, folks, we're not intentionally ignoring a couple of big matchups between Miami and Notre Dame, which is going to be on Sunday night at Hard Rock Stadium, and Florida State hosting Alabama on Saturday, which is it's a massive game. We also have real quick though, before we move on, Kenton, how you feeling about Bill Belichick's debut? North Carolina is going to be hosting TCU on Monday night, so prime time on Labor Day, 8 p.m. TCU favored by 3 though in Chapel Hill. Is the wrong team favored on this one?
No, Sonny Dykes and the boys are going to cover that 3 comfortably. They're going to cover that 3 with their feet up, smiling and laughing all the way to the bank. I don't think that TCU is a particularly great team. I just think that UNC has so many deficiencies. They'll be at that level where it's like, you're above a Power 4 team, I guess. But, like, I don't think the TCU will be that bad this year.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so, and again, we're not ignoring Miami, Notre Dame, and Florida State, Alabama. We're going to take deep dives on those games throughout the week. But let's talk about Stanford when we come back. And I get it. Your academics are great, but can we focus a little more into getting your football team back on track? You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Guys, I am so pumped because August 26th, that's tomorrow, Tuesday, depending on when you're listening to this, Tuesday is FanDuel's Futures Day. FanDuel Futures Day, I should say. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, it might be Kenton's Detroit Lions this year. You want to lock that in? This is your moment. Take a flyer on that MVP race as well. I'm a big fan of Lamar Jackson. I like watching him out there, so maybe I'll lock that one in as well. Take advantage of this, folks. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets right now, because Futures Day, Tuesday, August 26th, is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you for making Locked On ACC your first listen and your first watch. Alex Donno alongside Kenton Gibbs. All right, so Kenton, and I'm not even going to say I'm surprised because, Stanford, they were 3-point or 2.5-point dogs, depending on where you look, going against Hawaii this past weekend. So some folks I see reacting like, wow, can't believe Stanford lost to Hawaii. Like, I'm not going to say we didn't see this coming, but KG, they built a 10-0 lead early on, including a forced fumble, recovery, touchdown in the end zone. Like, it was really looking like Hawaii's offense was going to have problems. And then they figured it out. I mean, credit to Hawaii. Their quarterback, Aheda, ended up playing really good in that game. And their Japanese kicker, who grew up learning how to play football from YouTube videos. He grew up playing soccer in Japan. He watched YouTube videos, learned how to speak English through YouTube. Like, sensational story. But when Stanford has the 10-0 lead in the game and then the 2017 lead very, very late, you've got to be able to hold on to that. And so, honestly, Stanford, who lose to a group of 5 team in this case, they do not look like a Power 4 team this year. And the schedule only gets tougher for them. You're muted again.
Oh, now the Frank Reich lobby is trying to shut me out.
I feel like you should just do that as a running joke. Every time we start a segment, just be muted, because all the big lobbies are coming after you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a controversial guy. What can I say? But I'm going to tell you this, Donno. I'm disappointed because, like you said, you jump out to 2 leads on a group of 16. You have to maintain those leads. You have to maintain those leads. And here's the worst part for Stanford. The schedule gets no easier. The schedule gets no easier. Everybody keeps saying, oh, San Jose State, that's the one. They'll get a win there. San Jose State, that's the one. I don't know if y'all know this, but San Jose State was actually good at football last year. I'm sorry to tell you guys. I'm sorry to tell you. San Jose State was actually a pretty decent football team. So, and here's the other part about it that would really blow my mind about San Jose State if they were to win that football game. That would be the biggest recruiting bump that they have seen in quite some time. Do you know why, Donno?
Why?
They're recruiting the same players. You think that Miami and Florida, or Miami and Florida State, are close to each other? You think that NC State and UNC are close to each other? Those 2 schools are 28 miles apart. Do you know how far Palo Alto is from San Jose?
I'm going to guess, and you were just out there, right? So you probably know, like 10, 15 miles away. I don't know.
17 miles away.
Wow.
Listen, Stanford, y'all better get it together. Y'all better get it together, because not only is this going to be terrible for recruiting if you go defeated for a season, let's be very honest. It's terrible in terms of getting a new hire, because that new hire knows I've got to come in and deal with defeated.
Yeah.
I've got to clean my locker room of defeated. I've got to get in one of the most academically rigorous Power 4 schools there is, and I've got to recruit some football players. That's tough. Ain't nobody did it well since Harbaugh. And now, knowing some of the things we know about Harbaugh, makes you kind of look at those wins. What's going on there? But in
what
all
corners
seriousness,
were we cutting back then? Is what you have,
exactly.
what you have to wonder about.
But in all seriousness, Stanford, get it together, man. We knew this was going to be a failure. We knew this was going to be tough. And that's why even with an under over, what was it, 2.5? You and I both hammered the under in that one.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know if there's such a thing as like a big Hawaii Warriors lobby, but if so, they're coming after me to mute my mic because I totally butchered. I froze up and I couldn't remember their quarterback's name. I knew there was one of those like silent J's in there. So let me apologize to Micah Alejado, the quarterback from Hawaii, who threw 2 touchdowns and had a really nice game. And I should have remembered him because he played at Bishop Gorman, mega high school in Las Vegas. He had a nice game for Hawaii, and their kicker. Let me get the kicker's name as well while I'm apologizing to Hawaii. Kansei Matsuzawa, who went 3 for 3 from his field goals, including the game winner. That was a big game from them. And yes, like you, I am legitimately worried that Stanford comes out of the schedule 0-12. I am legitimately worried.
Hey, Donno, you said the line was 2.5. And their kicker made sure that they won the game by 3.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is check his interpreter's FanDuel. Hey, we've learned our lesson. Have we learned our lesson or not? Check that interpreter FanDuel.
I wish I was the interpreter, but I didn't have any money on that game. But at least I could count on Idaho State to cover that 30.5 against UNLV. So we had that one.
And now we're counting on Elon to just lose by less than 5 touchdowns and 5 extra points. Even if you just block an extra point for us after you go down 5 touchdowns, we'll be all right. Donno's got to pay. You see his son came in to make sure, Dad, is that slip right? Did you put it in the way I asked you to put it in? So, we make sure little Donno is really
he came in and asked me if any of the lines moved in the last couple of hours. And I think the Clemson line did move a little bit because I checked it within the last couple days. And I think it was Clemson -3 or 3.5. It's Clemson -4 now. So, the people are realizing what a mush Brian Kelly is at LSU, and the money is starting to come in. Make sure you guys check FanDuel for all the great odds. And we had a great time as always. Make sure you follow Kenton at Locked On Wolfpack and on X at TGIF_Kenton. Make sure you follow me at Alex Donno and on Locked On Canes. And we'll talk to you all again next time on another episode of Locked On ACC. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.